Okay. Yep. I'll be reading the terms of use, and yeah, this should be really, really fun. It's gonna be real fun. By the way, this is Elisee from the Gladers. 1.3 Terms of Use, Acceptance Terms. Welcome to Onverse.com, a service of Onverse LLC, an Arizona limited liability company, Onverse. Any reference to Onverse will include its members, officers, directors, employees, agents, successors, and assigns. Onverse provides this website, online gaming world, and related services, the site, to you, subject the following user agreement. If you do not agree with any of the terms of this agreement, including the privacy policy, do not access or otherwise use the site or any information contained on the site. Your use of this site shall be deemed to be your agreement to abide by each of the terms set forth below. Onverse can change its agreement at any time by posting an updated user agreement on the site. Onverse may send registered users an email notice of the changes. If any modifications are unacceptable to you, you shall cease using the site. If you do not cease using the site, you will be conclusively deemed to have accepted the change.
Registration information. In consideration of your use of the site, you agree to provide true, accurate, and complete information about yourself as prompted by the site registration, provided that in connection with registration, you do not need to use your full or true name for your username. In addition, you agree to update that information in order to maintain its truth, accuracy, and completeness. Onverse may deny you access to the site in the event that your required information is untrue, inaccurate, or incomplete.
User account, password, and security. You receive a password and user account upon completing the registration process. You are responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of the password and account and are also responsible for all activities that occur under your password or account. You agree to A. Immediately notify Onverse of any unauthorized use of your password or account or any other breach of security, and B. Ensure that you exit from your account at the end of each session. Onverse cannot and will not be liable for any loss or damage arising from your failure to comply with this section, including but not limited to deletion of the account or obtained items, communications under the account, and any purchases made. If Onverse researches and finds that losses or disruptions from your account occurred due to a voluntary transmittal of your password or account information, reserve the right to suspend, ban, or delete your account.
No ownership rights in account. You acknowledge and agree that you shall have no ownership or other property interest in the account or the personal spaces you create or in any way enhance through your time, purchases, or resources, and further acknowledge and agree that all rights in and to the account or the personal spaces you create or in any way enhance through your time, purchases, or resources are and shall be forever owned by Onverse.
Code of Conduct. While in Onverse, you must respect the rights of others and their rights to enjoy the world. To this end, you may not defraud, harass, threaten, impersonate, give unwanted attention, or cause distress to other users. Onverse reserves the absolute right to define the foregoing terms and determine whether such prohibitions have been violated.
Number 2. You may not transmit or post any content, imagery, or language which, in the sole and absolute discretion of Onverse, is deemed to be offensive, including, without limitation, content or language that is unlawful, harmful, threatening, abusive, harassing, defamatory, vulgar, obscene, hateful, sexually explicit, racially or ethnically or otherwise objectionable, nor may you use a misspelling or an alternative spelling to circumvent intent of this section, the content and language restrictions listed above.
While in Onverse, you may not spam or flood the chat system, profile comments, user emails, or forums with repetitive text, images, or obscene language.
Number 4. You may not use the chat system, profile comments, user emails, or forums to advertise or promote external websites or companies.
You may not use information gathered on Onverse to spam other Onverse users with offers of goods or services.
Number 6. You may not impersonate any employee or representative of Onverse.
You may not violate any local, state, national, or international laws or regulations.
Number 8. You must follow the instructions of any ONVERS employee or representative while in ONVERS.
You may not misrepresent your age in any way.
Number 10. You may not attempt to interfere with, hack into, or decipher any transmissions to or from the servers running the site.
You may not attempt to exploit or reproduce any bug in the site, and you will not communicate the existence of any such exploitable bug to other users, instead immediately reporting any bug to ONVERS.
Number 12. You may not release any real-life information about any other users or any ONVERS employees or representatives. Any release of your own user information is done so at your own risk.
You may not create duplicate threads on the same topic on the forums. This includes threads about other threads that were closed by a forum administrator.
Number 14. You may not create posts or threads concerning disciplinary action taken against any user of the community, including chat logs, personal messages, or emails between that user and the ONVERS employee.
You may not falsely report users for things they have not done. We do consider this a form of harassment.
Number 16. You may not post private conversations between yourself and any other ONVERS user, employee, or ONVERS representative. These include in-world tells, profile communications, or any other forms of communication within ONVERS. You may not post these on the forums, on your profile page, or upload them as media.
You may not access the site for purposes of conducting research or competitive analysis, such as, but not limited to, estimating the size of the site or its populations, or conducting demographic research, social experiments, benchmarking, feature performance, and or comparisons without the prior written consent of ONVERS.
Number 18. If you meet others in the site and end up doing business with them, those interactions are between you and them. ONVERS is in no way responsible for such interactions or the terms or conditions related to such transactions. You agree that ONVERS shall not be responsible or liable for any loss or damage of any sort incurred as the result of any such dealings.
If there is a dispute between users of the site or between users and any third party, you agree that ONVERS, its partners, providers, subsidiaries, affiliates, officers, directors, employees, contractors, agents, and or successors thereof, collectively ONVERS parties, are under no obligation to become involved. If you have a dispute with one or more of the users or third parties, you hereby release ONVERS parties from claims, demands, and damages, actual and consequential, of every kind or nature, known or unknown, suspected and unsuspected, disclosed and undisclosed, arising out of or in any way related to such disputes and or the site.
Number 20. Users must agree that they shall have attained their 13th birthday prior to using the site.
You may not ask other users for personal or account information. Trying to scam or phish for passwords will result in an automatic banning of your account.
Transferring or trading of accounts or virtual goods. ONVERS does not recognize the transfer of accounts between users or prospective users. You may not purchase, sell, gift, or trade your account, or offer to purchase, sell, gift, or trade your account. If you try to trade or assign accounts, ONVERS will not recognize your account and may terminate it. To the extent you try to sell it, transfer it, or gift virtual goods outside of the site, ONVERS will not recognize such transfers. You cannot sell any virtual goods or services from the site in the real world.
Personal spaces. ONVERS may allow you to create your own personal space within the ONVERS virtual world, which you may decorate with virtual furniture and use to entertain your friends. While you can create your own personal space, please understand that if you create and hang out in a personal space, that you still have to follow the rules and the terms of use. This means that if you break the rules of ONVERS, even in your personal space, ONVERS can still take any and all actions against you, including suspending or terminating your account.
Expectation and monitoring. A. Content. To allow for the free flow exchange of ideas, data, conversations, documents, text, audio-video works, materials or information, collectively content, are not routinely reviewed before being posted on or within the site. As a result, Onverse has no control over any content posted on or within the site and makes no representations or claims regarding the quality, reliability, or accuracy of such content. Onverse takes no responsibility or liability for any content posted on or within the site.
While on a site, you understand that you may come across or be exposed to content that is prohibited or that you may find offensive. If you become exposed to any prohibited or offensive content, you waive your right to any damages from Onverse and further agree to hold Onverse harmless, acknowledge that Onverse have no liability related to the content, whether or not arising under the laws of intellectual property, defamation, privacy, obscenity, indecency, or otherwise.
B. Onverse employee etiquette. Asking for passwords or personal information. In the site, Onverse employees or agents will never ask you for personal information, including passwords for your Onverse accounts. If someone purporting to be a representative of Onverse asks you for personal information or your passwords, whether that be an email or in the site, you should immediately report such behavior to Onverse.
C. Limits. You acknowledge and agree that Onverse may establish limits concerning use of the site, including, but not limited to, the maximum number of days that content will be retained by Onverse, the maximum number and size of postings, the maximum number of days an account will be saved that is inactive, email messages or other content that may be transmitted or stored by Onverse, and where, how, and how often you may access Onverse. You agree that Onverse has no responsibility or liability for the deletion or failure to store any content maintained or transmitted by Onverse. You acknowledge that Onverse reserves the right at any time to modify, or discontinue the site, or any part thereof, with or without notice, and that Onverse parties shall not be liable to you or to any third party for any modification, suspension, or discontinuance of any of its products or services.
Investigations, suspension and/or revocation of privileges and removal of content. In order to ensure that Onverse is able to provide a site that is responsive to customer needs, Onverse employees may need to access your account and records on a case-by-case basis to investigate complaints or other allegations or abuse. Onverse shall not disclose the existence or occurrence of such an investigation unless required by law.
You understand that your participation in the site is a privilege, not a right. You understand that Onverse may immediately and without notice, in its sole discretion, suspend, delete, or deactivate your account, temporarily or permanently, block your email address or IP, or terminate access to all or part of the site. Onverse may further remove any content from the site for any reason.
Onverse may take any action as Onverse in its sole discretion deems necessary if Onverse believes it may create liability for Onverse parties, including, but not limited to, removing any content and/or terminating a user's account if a user's conduct fails to conform with these terms of use.
Users who violate the terms of use may additionally incur criminal and/or civil liability. Onverse may refer violators to civil or criminal authorities for prosecution and will cooperate fully with the applicable government authorities in connection with its investigations of any suspected civil or criminal violations. Onverse also reserves the right to terminate your account if you learn or have reason to believe that you have provided us with false or misleading registration information, interfered with other users or the site, or violated these terms of use.
You agree that Onverse shall not be liable to you or any third party for any termination of your access to the site. Onverse will not reimburse or compensate you if it takes any actions. If you wish to terminate your account or your child's account, you must provide written notice to Onverse by sending an email with the username and email address to terminate@onverse.com. You must send the email from the email address on file for the Onverse account you wish to terminate.
You may contact Onverse through U.S. Postal Mail at Onverse LLC, 2121 South Priest Drive, Suite 110, Tampa, Arizona, 85282.
Privacy policy. By registering and/or accessing the site, you agree to abide by the Onverse privacy policy. You can find the privacy policy at the bottom of the site.
Disclaimer of warranties. You understand and expressly agree that use of the site is at your sole risk, that any consent submitted, supplied, or otherwise obtained through the use of the site is your own discretion and risk, and that you will be solely responsible for any loss of data, profits, or business that may result.
The site is provided by Onverse parties on an as-is basis. Onverse parties make no representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, as to the use and operation of the site, the accuracy and/or reliability of the content in the site, any goods or services purchased or obtained through the site, any interactions in the site, or any transactions entered into through the site. Onverse disclaims all warranties, express or implied, including without limitation any warranty of merchantability, title, fitness for a particular purpose, and non-infringement. Onverse parties do not warrant that use of the site will be uninterrupted, available at any time or from any location, secure or error-free, that defects will not be corrected, or that the site is free of viruses or other harmful components. Some jurisdictions do not allow exclusion of certain warranties, so some of the above exclusions may not apply to you.
Limitation of liability. You agree that in no event will Onverse will be liable for any damages whatsoever, including, but not limited to, direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, and punitive damages, including, without limitation, those resulting from lost profits, lost data, or business interruption, arising out of the use, inability to use, or the results of the use of the site or any websites linked to the site, the materials or information contained at any or all such sites, or the content anywhere on the internet, whether based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other legal theory, and whether or not advised of the possibility of such damages, applicable law may not allow the exclusion or limitation of such damages, so the above limitation or exclusion may not apply to you.
Other legal terms. The terms of use will be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the state of Arizona as it is applied to contracts entered into by residents of the state of Arizona. You hereby consent to the exclusive jurisdiction of a state or federal court empowered to enforce this agreement in the state of Arizona, County of Maricopa, and agree to waive any objection thereto on the basis of personal jurisdiction or venue. If any provisions of the terms of use is found to be contrary to law, then such provisions shall be construed as nearly as possible to reflect the intentions of the parties, with the other provisions remaining in full force and effect. Officers' failure to exercise or enforce any right or provision of the terms of use shall not constitute a waiver of such right or provisions unless acknowledged and agreed to by Onverse in writing. The section titles of the terms of use are solely used for the convenience of the parties and have no legal or contractual significance.
The terms of use constitute the entire agreement between the parties with respect to the subject matter hereof and supersedes and replaces all prior or contemporaneous understandings or agreements, written or oral, regarding such subject matter. Any waiver of provision of the terms of use will be effective only if in writing and signed by Onverse. You may not assign this agreement to any other party by operation of law or otherwise without the prior written consent of Onverse.
This terms of use shall bind and inure to the benefit of the successors and permitted assigns of the parties. In the event of a breach of this terms of use, the breaching party shall pay to the other party any reasonable attorney's fees and other costs and expenses incurred by the non-breaching party in connection with the enforcement of any provisions of this terms of use. This has been Celisia from the Gladers. This is the terms of use.